What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Gamer in the Wardrobe, where I play games in the comfort of my closet. Specifically today, we're going over a deck list for Alpha Clash, and we're doing one of the decks that I'm actually really excited about. It's one of the starter deck contenders. It's War Fierce Javelin. For those of you that aren't familiar with this deck, or with this new contender, it's one of the new set 4 starter deck contenders, and I think this has got potential to be one of the best aggro decks in the game. Okay, so the deck we're rolling out today is pretty spicy. It's a mono red, but let's break down the contender real quickly, and then we'll hop into the deck list. Contender is 1/0, 1 attack, 0 defense, Harbinger, red contender, 25 health. And the War Fierce Javelin, his ability is trigger attack. If this contender has a weapon attached with Javelin in its name, create 1/1 red Harbinger War Minion Clash token. And then once per turn, whenever you unattach your weapon from this contender, you may draw 1 card. When you get below 10 health, at the start of your turn, if the contender has a weapon attached with Javelin in its name, all of your War Minion tokens get +1/+1 until the end of the turn. So you're going to see a lot of synergies going over tokens, the Javelins, and the spiciness of this deck. I think the way that I've built it, because I've seen a couple of lists out there that are really good, but this one has a unique spin where it's focusing not only on zoo tactics going wide, but non-clash damage. So let's hop into first things first, our Clash Ground, and what I think is the spiciest card of this deck, Scorched Earth from Alpha Clash Set 2 Clash Ground. So this is a Clash Ground Scorched Earth, 3 cost, 2 red pip. If a source you control would deal non-clash damage to a contender or clash card you don't control, it deals that much damage +1 instead. So all of our non-clash damage for this, when this Clash Ground's on the board, is going to ping it for the amount +1. I really like the idea of this deck. Full transparency, haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty confident it's going to do what I want it to do. Next Clash Ground is the War Zone, 3 red, 2 red pip, counterplay. So this is a really good one because it not only has the ability, but it counters a Clash Ground being played. So if you have this on the board and your opponent plays a Clash Ground, you can counter that play and send their Clash Ground to oblivion, so it doesn't even enter play, right? So it basically comes out, has its ability, and counters the next Clash Ground that the contender is going to play. At the end of each player's turn, that player may ready up to 1 Harbinger Clash card they control. That includes Clash tokens. And then all Harbinger Clash cards get +1/+0. That includes your opponent. Now this deck is only running Harbingers, and all of the tokens it's creating are Harbinger tokens. So if this is on the board, all of our Clash cards and tokens are going to get +1/+0. All right. Next, we're going to go over the accessories. We have the Sniper Javelin, which I believe is only found in the starter deck 3. Yeah, ST4. And this is cost 2, 1 red pip to attach. Your contender gets +1/+0, so it would turn War the Javelineer into a 2/0. But when the contender attacks with the Javelin attached, you have the option of unattaching the weapon and throwing it at a Clash card for 2 damage. If the Clash card has flight, it deals 4 damage. Now again, back to the Clash Ground, Scorched Earth. It now is going to deal 3 damage or 5 damage to a flying unit. So I find that very, very, very good. It's going to take out the 5-drop lids. It's going to take out the deaths. It's going to take out some of those flyers that have a slightly higher health. It's not going to take out the flare, the 6/6 flare, unfortunately, but it just gives you that one additional damage that I think is going to be really viable and strong, especially going from 2 to 3 on ground units with Scorched Earth on play is going to be really unique. We have Fire Javelin. We're running 2 of these, 2 to play, 2 to attach. Gives your contender +1/+1, so turns War into a 2/1. And when you swing, it's a 2/1 swing. But this is not one that unattaches when you swing. This is one where, while this weapon's attached, all of your minion tokens have trigger defeat, deal 1 damage to target clash card. So again, if I swing with the Javelin, I'm going to create a 1/1 token with my ability, and then if that token is defeated, and I have this weapon attached, it's going to now deal 2 damage instead of 1 damage if I have Scorched Earth on the play as well. So a lot of this deck synergizes around that Scorched Earth, but also you don't need it, but it definitely helps get the damage through. And then at the end of the turn, this weapon unattaches. So you'll have to reattach it every turn for 2, which is a little expensive. But when it unattaches at the end of your turn, you get to draw a card from your Contender ability whenever you unattach a weapon. Our last accessory is the Bigan Warlock. If the portal is open, it creates a war minion at the end of your turn, and then when it enters play, it creates a 1/1 war minion token. So really good at just continually pumping out tokens, which again are going to synergize with Scorched Earth and Javelins, War Zone, and then a lot of the other things that we want to do. So very, very critical card in this deck, creating war minion tokens. Notice we're going Clash Grounds, accessories, and actions first before we do Clash cards, because there's not a ton of Clash cards. There's only 20 Clash cards, which is kind of low with a lot of the meta decks right now. But the ability that the Contender has to create tokens really allows us to emphasize on our actions and accessories in Clash Grounds, because we're creating Clash tokens basically every turn if we find that Javelin. Okay, so some of the actions. First thing is Alternative Strike. Amazing card. Don't think it was seeing a lot of play in previous sets because there wasn't a ton of strong accessories. In this set, the amount of accessories that are now really strong are almost to a point to where every deck should be running 2, if not more, accessory removal cards. Hard accessory removal, not trigger enter accessory removal. So Alternative Strike, the beauty of this is if the portal is open, you get to choose both abilities. Deal 2 damage to Contender or Clash card, and send target non-trap accessory to Oblivion. Now, a couple of key things. First things first. 2 damage to Contender or Clash card. If Scorched Earth is on the field, it's 3 to Contender or Clash card. The second ability is send target non-trap accessory to Oblivion. So it's not going to work on Krung traps, it's not going to work on Moxie sharpshooters, but this is still a very viable ability. And I think for 3, the odds of you having the portal open with some of your portal control in this deck are very good. This is a critical card to have in the deck so that you don't get extremely countered by really strong accessories, right? This is going to work against Koggin, it's going to work against Crimson Scales, it's going to work against a lot of weapons if they're going Moxie builds, it's going to work against the new Moxie, creating badges, it's going to work against Contender weapons, right? So very, very strong card. I had Solar Smash in here, but with Scorched Earth on the field, this does 3 damage already, and it has the upside. Sure, it costs 3, but I'm getting Scorched Earth with I Am Chaos, or I'm getting Solar Smash with I Am Chaos on the board, with Scorched Earth on the board. This will deal 3, and I'm only paying 2 for it. We'll get there in a second. I just mumbled over myself. Next card, our Clash buff. Basically, you can run Heat of Battle here, which is the one where you deal 2 to your own Clash card and 4 to the other. But with us being aggro and having Harbingers and having a Contender that is red and a Harbinger, this is one of the best Clash buffs in the game. It gives your Clash card, now it does not target your Contender, but a Clash card you control gets +3/+1 and Breakthrough. Extremely strong. Next we have Favorable Outcome. Again, all of this is synergizing with Scorched Earth. So instead of dealing 2, it would deal 3. But let's say you don't have Scorched Earth on the field. This deals 2 damage to target Clash card. If that Clash card is defeated by this effect, create a 1/1 red token that cannot attack this turn. So for 1 cost, that's pretty good. And then again, with Scorched Earth, that's really good. I get to pay 1 to deal 3 damage to something and create a token. I'm in, right? Last action is I Am Chaos. This is one of the new I Am cards for the new set. And what it does is, if your Contender is war, it costs 1 less red pip, so this effectively costs 2 resources, not 3. And you get to send target Clash token you control to Oblivion, then deal 2 damage to a Contender or Clash card. So again, with Scorched Earth, this is dealing 3 damage to Contender or Clash cards. So you can do a lot of damage directly to the Contender if they don't have Clash cards on the field, which is really, really critical if you're playing someone that's, you know, maybe trying to be more control-y, like a Pestilence or a Genesis, and they're not playing a lot of Clash cards. A lot of your cards can go to the face, critical or alternative strike, I Am Chaos, and deal additional damage to penetrate some of the defensive contenders. If the portal is open, which it should be, you also create 2 1/1 red Harbinger tokens. Really strong card, really like it in this deck. And then lastly, we're going to go over our Clash cards. We'll start with one of the best cards, I think, in set 4, Torque Retaliating. He's a 5-drop alpha card, so he's not going to synergize with your Harbinger perks. But if this Clash card deals damage to a Contender, you may deal 3 damage to target Clash card you control. The move with this one is you swing at the Contender, take 1 damage from that Contender, and then you deal the additional 3 damage to yourself. And when you do that, you kill this card. So if this Clash card is defeated by this effect, you may deal X damage to target Clash card or Contender, where X is equal to the defeated Clash card's initial resource cost. So let's do the first play. Scorched Earth is not on the field. They have a Contender that's a 1-0 Contender. You swing at it because they don't have any obstructs. You hit it for 1, or you hit it for 5. You take 1, deal the 3 damage to yourself to deal an additional 5 damage to that Contender. You just did a 10 damage swing with 1 5-drop card. Now, one step further, Scorched Earth is now on the field. You swing at the Contender. Let's say it is a defensive Contender. You swing at the Contender. You deal 4 damage because they have 1 defense. Now, since you dealt damage, you can then deal the 4 damage to yourself. Again, Torque Retaliating, still kill yourself, and now you're dealing 6 damage to that Contender because non-clash damage is getting buffed by 1. So you still effectively, you're not only dealing 5 or 10 to a attack as a 1-0 Contender, but you're dealing 10 damage to an 0-1 Contender as well. So really good synergy with Scorched Earth. Really excited to test that combo out. Okay, so this is pretty standard 1-drop War Combat Marshal. Trigger defeat if the portal's open, create a 1/1 red minion token. So basically it's a 1 for 1/1 for 1. When it dies, your portal should be open, hopefully. It creates another 1/1 token. My dogs are barking, hopefully that's not too loud. I'm going to pause real quick. Sorry, that got a little crazy there for a second. My kids and dogs were going wild outside my door. So we're back. 3-drop War Rampant Rival, set 4 card. Synergizes extremely well with our war tokens. For 3, it's a 2/2, not an amazing stat line, but it's trigger attack and trigger defeat, and just ability in general are what synergize really well with this deck. So, trigger attack. Until end of turn, this card gets +1/+0 for each war minion clash token that attacks this turn. So, attacks this turn. Doesn't need to survive, just attacks. Whenever a war minion token is defeated, this card gets +0/+1 until end of turn. So, hypothetically, it's your 5th turn. You have 4 more minion tokens out because you just pop them out like crazy. Maybe you played War Strife Bringer the turn before, creating 2 additional, swung with your Javelin, 3 plus the war, right? Whatever it is. It's your next turn. You play this card out. You swing with your first War Minion token. It dies. This gets +1/+1. You swing with your next one, +1/+1. You swing with your next one, +1/+1. You swing with your next one, +1/+1. This inevitably, if they don't have a way to stop you from swinging or killing this on your turn, this just continues to grow and grow and grow. And then when it does die, it leaves behind a 1/1 token. So what you can also understand too is, like, you're creating so many tokens, you have potentially blockers as well on your turn if you don't want to go all out for your swings. So, very strong card from set 4 that synergizes really well with this deck. Couple more cards. War Strife Bringer. This is probably my favorite card from set 2. Very strong card, activates the portal, creates war minion tokens, and then its ability if the portal is open is you can engage your clash tokens, your minions, and then give this card breakthrough and +1/+0 for each clash card engaged with this effect. So hypothetically, let's say you have 3 tokens on board, you play this card, it creates 2 more tokens, you have 5 tokens on board, you activate the portal, and then swing, this becomes an 8/3 with breakthrough. I love this card. I think this card is amazing. It's a staple, that's why we run 4 of them. Our unrivaled card, meaning we can only have 1 of them in the deck, one unrivaled card is War of the Second Horseman. Amazing card, but this is going to synergize really well with Scorched Earth and Warzone, right? Scorched Earth, it now enters and deals 4 damage to Contender or Clash card, and then when it attacks, if they elect not to send the Clash card to Oblivion, they take 2 damage. Or if Scorched Earth is on the field, they take 3 damage. So this inevitably is 4 damage plus 3 damage plus the 4 that you're doing. It's an 11 damage turn, right? If they can't stop it. So a couple of last cards. This one's really good. It's a 2-drop that can ping a Clash card if it's hurt, or if it gets hurt, you can activate the portal. I mostly use this as a portal activation. I'll play it, I'll swing, I'll take a damage, I'll open the portal on turn 2 instead of paying for it. And then if they want to swing at it, I potentially have the opportunity of killing something with 2 health, because it's going to hit them and then deal 1 damage to that Clash card as well. So I like the card a lot in this deck with portal control and what it's trying to do. But also, if you have Scorched Earth, I know I keep saying that, it deals 2 damage to another Clash card when it takes damage. So again, just synergizes really, really well with this deck. And then lastly, this is kind of like a finisher, like a pseudo finisher. The deck is going to play pretty aggro, so obviously a 5-drop usually isn't a finisher. But this does 2 things. It has breakthrough. It costs 5. It synergizes with your Harbingers. It also synergizes with your tokens. It also, if you have not found your Javelin, hypothetically by turn 5, I do recommend hard mulliganing for your Javelins, specifically Sniper Javelin. But let's say you just didn't find it for whatever reason. This comes in, you can send a War Minion token away, search your deck for a Javelin, put it at the top, so you're going to have it next turn ready to go. It is a late play, obviously, for 5, getting your Javelin on turn 6. The game is probably pretty much over at this point because you're such an aggro deck. But if it isn't, right, hypothetically, this is a way where you can grab that Javelin. But its second ability is what is the finisher ability, is trigger attack. This card gets +1 for each minion Clash token that was defeated or sent to Oblivion this turn. So it enters field, it sends 1 away, gets +1, so it's a 4/3. Hypothetically, if you have Warzone on the board, it's a 5/3. And then, let's say you have 5 War Minion tokens and you swing with all of them and they all get defeated, well, this gets +5 for all those minion tokens being defeated, and it has breakthrough. So, really fun, really cool card. I'm excited to give it a try, and I'm sure it's going to win me a game here or there. But that's the deck in a nutshell. If I were going to go over options of mulligans and things like that, I would hard mulligan for your Sniper Javelin or Fire Javelin. Specifically Sniper Javelin, I think that is the one card you're definitely going to need early game or in your starting hand, because you want to play it on turn 2, attach it on turn 3, and swing, right? A couple other ones I would potentially want in my starting hand. I'd want a Scorched Earth, at least 1. I'd want a Sniper Javelin. I would probably want a Decimation, a Favorable Outcome, an I Am Chaos, a War Horn, and then, maybe the Provocateur and the War Combat. So I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so that would be the 8 that I would recommend searching for, but your hard mulligans are going to be for the Sniper Javelin and probably like a Provocateur or 2 and Scorched Earth. So hope you guys enjoyed the deck list breakdown. I enjoy doing that. If you want to like, comment, and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It does help me do this more often. Not only does it give me motivation to do it, but eventually, maybe, it starts paying some of the bills a little bit. So Don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to come out with a lot more deck lists over this next month before Pro Tour, hopefully stirring up some ideas. I want to do at least one deck list for every single contender, so stay tuned. I appreciate it. This is Gamer in the Wardrobe. I hope you guys have a good night.